All right, welcome into another edition of Carps Corner here. Spring ball, and I know I've been getting as many shows out as I'd like to, but I apologize for that. We've got a lot going on at the house, a lot of kids, sports, and activities running through. So this weekend has been wild. It's been crazy, and wanted to get one out Thursday or Friday, and eventually Sunday comes. It's like, all right, well, we got a week's worth of content we can dive into and start talking about, and then got some of the sound from some of the coaches and players, some of the things throughout the week and what some of those things mean. So we can get into that um, and talk a little bit about all those different situations. Another big and interesting note: Ryan Day is on the Buckeye cruise. He bought one of the auction items was North to Nashville, former Ohio State offensive lineman Evan Blankenship's lead singer. They're a really good band. They do a lot of covers. They've got some of their own stuff. They're very, very entertaining and very good. He purchased them. What was he going to do with it? I said, dude, have a party for your kids or whatever, but they're going to have a big benefit over at Ohio State at the Woody Hayes after the spring game. And so they typically do the family and former players barbecue, get everybody around and get them involved, which is awesome because get my kids running around there. They go get autographs from all the guys, get a chance to meet the guys' parents and, talk to them as they're just wrapping up spring. And it's a pretty cool event. Very, very cool. And it's a way to kind of blend and bring back the former guys and get them integrated with the current players and just families that understand. And I love talking to those guys, and they see my kids running around sometimes. And, it reminds me of when I was playing and, Mike Vrabel would bring his boys over, and now heck, they're both out of college and everything. And so you just kind of get that feeling Hoying would have his boys over and, running around. It's just a little slice of that nostalgia there. And I'm like, hey, one day you won't be cool in the eyes of your kids anymore, and the new and young guys are going to be the cool dudes. So they're always very gracious and generous. I love talking to the players' parents, and you begin to realize like why Ohio State is such a special place and why they've had as much success as they've had. And especially the type of guys they've got. It's very, very impressive. And they're awesome humans, and it's because they come from awesome families. And, occasionally you get guys that may have, a tougher upbringing, and they come here and, and they go to a school and they can transform their lives. And, and you see that happen too. And that's really impressive as well. We're getting a chance to meet some of these guys' parents. First time I met JT, Tumaloal's parents. I mean, they were fantastic people. And it's like, you understand why their son is the way he is, and you meet, Jack Sawyer's parents and guys that are either from here or whether they're from across the country, Jackson Smith and Jigba's dad. Like they're all great dudes and they're great dudes as players, and because they have great parents. And so you meet their dads, you meet their moms, and they're so gracious. And it's just really a cool experience. So excited for that. That's going to be a couple weeks. Coming up this week at practice, Ohio State, they're going Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then they've got the Saturday game. Obviously, coaching clinic there at the end of next week. Want to give the guys the weekend off. Get out there, get Friday morning practice. You give them Saturday, give them Sunday off. It's Easter weekend. So hopefully they'll be able to enjoy that a little bit as well. So that'll be another big thing. So spring ball about halfway done. And obviously the big scrimmage last Saturday, had another scrimmage with fan and student appreciation day this Saturday. So it was a packed house, a lot of people in there, very competitive. When Ryan's working through these, he wants a lot of competitive situations. There'll be teach days, and kind of Tuesday was a little bit more of a teach day last week. I anticipate Monday will be a teach day, this week where they kind of get some things, installing some new stuff. But they're working different situations, third down, getting a lot of third down stuff in, even start doing some red zone. And, defensively, I know they don't even have all their red zone calls in. So it's good to kind of work through this stuff, even when you don't have it all in there. It's less than an ideal situation because in the games, not going to be all clean. It's not going to be easy. And so they're working through those things right now. And it's very beneficial, but it's challenging the young quarterbacks, challenging, the secondary, challenging the linebackers, which, Steel Chambers is still in there, but this is really his first spring as a linebacker. Then you have Cody Simon in there filling in for Tommy Eichenberg while he's recovering from shoulder stuff. Look at the wide receivers. You got Emeka and Julian both out. Marvin's taking limited reps. You got a lot of stuff, work with the young guys, and they're working with these young quarterbacks. And you've got an offensive line that's trying to work through some things. And so they're going through all these different situations. And that's what's great. And at this point, I would say that this classically happens a lot, especially when you're trying to break in some new offensive linemen and break in a new quarterback. Because as talented as these skill guys are, still doesn't matter. Like, they still have a long way to go as far as where they ultimately need to be. And the offensive line going against a really good D line is really tough. And so the defense at this point, I would say, is ahead of the offense. I think Ryan would probably have that feeling and understanding as well. Like, they just have the propensity to make some more plays. They're getting a lot of pressure right now. And, Marvin's, like I said, he's not playing a lot. The other two top receivers are out. But we'll get to some of the young guys that are making some progress. And the offensive line has looked good running the football. Done a pretty good job in their run blocking. Pass blocking, not quite where they need to be. In totality, I will say this: Fryer's playing really good. He's done a heck of a job over there on the left side, and that's going to be basically his spot to hold down. And they're going to need him to be really good all season long, because they're going to probably, the right side is struggling a little bit right now, and so they've got some work to do to try to get some things going over there on the right. And so I don't know if they can continue to improve here over the next couple weeks to try to get that done going in the spring. Maybe start looking in the portal, but not coming along as fast. And what I love about Fryer is the fact that he's going over there, and when it's Jack Sawyer up and one-on-one pass rush, he's there. When it's JT up, boom, he's there. So he's getting work against the best guys. And that's the only way you get better. And they talk about iron sharpens iron and all this stuff. But the fact that Fryer is being that aggressive, that, hey, when they're up, they're each go on both sides. I want the reps with the 1A guys over here, because they're going to challenge me. And that's the only way that you're going to know how good you actually are. Football is a relative sport. It's not like running track or swimming or something where you're time-based. I mean, you're going against another human, and that's the only way to really improve. And so the better players you go against, they're going to make you better, and especially in those one-on-one situations. So Fryer's doing a heck of a job over there, stepping up, developing himself as one of the leaders of the offensive line. The guards are in pretty good spots. Center, okay. It's just that right side still working through some things, as they try to hone in on what they want to do right there with it. So that's it. And with that, one of the guys who's really been feasting, number 97, Kenyatta Jackson, KJ, as they call him. They're looking, to get beef up that defensive end spot. So they've got obviously the two top guys, Sawyer and JT are going to be the two guys there, more permanently. Sawyer's going to move off kind of that Jack spot for a while. And so you've got Caden Curry, who's always around the ball. Caden Curry doing a great job around the ball a lot right now. Just looking at him in practice Thursday, Saturday, you look up and the guy's there making plays, getting off the pile. Like, he's always the dude. When the ball is to his side, he's always around it and always find a way to get in it. But you needed someone else. Kenyatta Jackson, I think, is going to be that guy. Physically, he looks the part. He's checking every box. He's tall, he's long, he's athletic, bends really well athletically. But you need to make sure that he can go out there and be a playmaker. And he's got to be a guy that starts producing. He's starting to do that a little bit. Now, I said he's getting maybe not the top of the line action and looks, as far as the pass rush goes, just from who he's going against. But he also was going against Fryer. He's going against some good guys. And, the best that they've got, and, he's starting to get some push, starting to get some wins. And so that's big to be able to say, okay, now we can have Caden Curry and we have Kenyatta Jackson. They're two very different type of players. And these guys can come in and spell our number one defensive ends when they get tired. Because you've got to have at least a rotation of 6, probably 7 guys up front. Ideally, you want 8 or 9. So we'll see if they can get there. A little thin on the inside still. Mike Hall, wrecking people, doing a great job. Tyreek doing okay. Tyreek doing okay. He's still got some room to grow a little bit. And he's got to continue to improve. But he's doing a pretty good job in there. But still got to get his body right. Has to make sure he can play it, at a high level consistently all the time. And that's one of the things that we have with young players, a little bit of consistency issues. But after that, they've got to continue to look and develop inside, because you want to try to have a 2 guys at every position, so you can really have a nice wave of 8 that you can kind of roll in there and get them going. Just some other notes. I think this is kind of a continuation a little bit from the first week. This offense is going to look a little differently than it has been in the past, Like, I don't think you're going to probably see 30 to 40 just pure dropbacks, pushing the ball way down the field and, just using CJ's elite accuracy to get the ball out. Whether it ends up being Devin Brown or Kyle McCord, that remains to be seen. Although I think Kyle is kind of the leader in the clubhouse right now, and just experience pays off, and it's a big deal to have that. But the experience is important. But they're going to move the pocket with those guys. There's going to be some more boots. There's going to be some Q runs, and it's going to look a little bit different, with just what their skill levels are. This is the trademark of really every good head coach is you take what your guys are good at and you do more of it. The things they're not good at, well, we'll work on it. We'll try to improve and try to, look at some of those deficiencies to make sure we can be as good as we can be. But ultimately, we want to lean into our players' strengths. And every year, depending on offensive line, running backs, receivers, quarterbacks, the offense is going to look a little different. And so you have things that you like to do as a head coach. And then you have things that say, hey, I've never really done this before, quite like this, but this is the best thing for us to do, just simply do to the talent that we have and what the guys are good at. You don't want to put them in bad situations. So the offense is going to continue to look different, and they're evolving, trying to figure this out. And also you have Hartline, who's now, the offensive coordinator, and so he's going to have his little spin on it. It's going to be a little different with kind of what he likes to lean into. And you can see Ryan kind of leaning in and giving him some more opportunities in practice, kind of call some things. Ryan stepping back and kind of running practices more of a CEO coach, still with his hand on the quarterback's hand on the offense, but coming down, watching the defense and doing some different things now than probably more than ever before, because he's got calling the plays and he's intricately involved with the quarterbacks and everything else. And so not that he's not involved with that at all, but just the level of it's a little bit different. And it's important for your head coach. You got to know what's going on everywhere. And there's got to be accountability everywhere. And the only way to do that is by being able to touch and understand what's going on at every position at points during practice. But speaking of Brian Hartline, we'll have some sound from him. But as we get to this, because he'll be the first guy we want to talk about. But Carnell Tate, and there's been a lot of people that have talked about him. Number 17, early enrollee freshman. Guy looks really good. I mean, he's checks the box physically. He's tall, he's long, he's athletic. But what Hartline loves about him is the way that he competes and what he goes out there and how he gets after it and rarely makes the same mistake twice, all these different things. But he's made some nice plays on the sideline. Some really nice plays against some corners. There's Denzel Burke, Jordan Hancock, Igman Newsom, like all these guys that are out there, that are playing some good ball. I mean, he's stepping up and playing well against them. And for a guy coming in early against some seasoned corners, that's pretty good. It's pretty good because Jordan Hancock, I mean, the guy's got all the athleticism in the world. Igman Newsom, like big. Denzel Burke, we've seen what he can do. So there's some guys out there. Jair Brown played a lot as a freshman. So there's some guys that have been seasoned. And Carnell Tate, I mean, he's going to push some of that class above him to make sure they solidify their spots, because him and Ennis and some of these other guys that are coming in, they're pushing the envelope, which is what you want. You want a competitive situation. You want a competitive room. But here is Brian Hartline talking about Carnell Tate and just the detail that he has.
I would say he's being well detailed. I would say that he's doing a pretty good job taking meetings to the field. We talk about techniques. We talk about the details of every play. And he's pretty consistent on hitting those. Probably the best thing he's done is just the ability to make a mistake, correct it, and then move on from it. He very rarely has repeated mistakes, and that's usually a pretty good sign of a good player, a guy that's about his business, and that's really what you're hoping for.
That's why he's good. I mean, not only does he have the physical gifts, but when you're not making the same mistakes twice, you're highly competitive. Like, that's going to give you a huge boost in it. And so we'll bounce with him and go to the defense now and listen to some of these other defensive guys and everything that they're able to bring to the table. Sonny Styles enrolled early. And people ask, like, was it a disappointment? Did he not have any regrets about coming in early, giving up his senior year? I mean, the guy physically looked good, and he played some last year he was in the stinking Peach Bowl playing against Georgia. So his thoughts on that.
No, I never second guessed it. I knew why I came here early. I came here early to get better. I feel like coming here, I was going to get better every day. I was going to go against the best every day. I actually got a chance to play. I mean, I came here expecting to just get better. If I get a chance to play, I get a chance to play. I expect to get on special teams and go hard and do something for my team, play that role.
I mean, he's a pure dude, man. And never second guess coming in early. Wanted to come in, challenge himself, get better. He did that. He's going to play this year. I know there's a lot of people worried, like, okay, you got Proctor back there, you got Ransom back there, you got Cam Martinez. They're going to package this for Sonny to get in. Sonny's going to get in the game, and there's injuries. There's a lot of things that happen. Sonny Styles will be playing this year if he is healthy for the Ohio State Buckeyes on defense. I can promise you that. One of the other guys that was beat up last year, one of many, but got the late start, had the hamstring issue, Jordan Hancock, and talking about, his offseason, what he was trying to get done to prevent those injuries from happening again.
It was hard adjusting because, last year I put on weight, and then my injury on top of that, maybe it could be harder, but Coach Mick, just tapping in with him the whole offseason made us faster and more explosive. So thank you to Coach Mick for that.
And he credits Coach Mick changing his body. That's big. Mick does a great job with those guys working through it. If you're willing to work and willing to sacrifice, he's going to get you to where you need to be. Couple notes here now. Perry Eliano, you're talking about the safeties at Ohio State and what it means to play there, and just the pressure, because it's always going to be there, regardless of who you are, what you've done. There's going to be pressure to play safety at Ohio State.
Everyone has gotten better in their own right, but there's still room for improvement. We're looking for those edges, those inches. What can we do to get better? So when their number's called, we make the play. So, everybody's getting better, including Kai and Sonny. But at the same point in time, we're still looking for ways to continue to get better, and improve.
One of the guys that's seeing a lot of pressure is Josh Proctor, and he's come in, big time recruit out of Oklahoma, played early, got hurt, had some issues, obviously came back from the broken leg, struggled at times last year. Like, just didn't necessarily work out. I'm happy to see him back. I think this could be a big year for him. He's a very mature young man now that he wasn't when he got here. So he watching his maturation process of Josh Proctor has been fantastic. And Perry Eliano, safeties coach, talks about that and how it's kind of calloused him. And the adversity, I think, has been good for him to mature, not only as a player, but as a man.
He's built a lot of callous. He's had a lot of adversity. You think before I got here, he started against Minnesota, then he goes into the Oregon game, first home game, and he's actually playing pretty well. And all of a sudden, injury bug hits, and he's out for the year. So you have a new coach that comes in. You have to learn me. You have to learn a new system, albeit you're not able to practice yet. So I think the young man has grown tremendously through adversity and developed the toughness and the callous that it's going to take not only to be the very best version of himself now, but also in life.
Well, that's big. And that's one of the things that people always kind of underrate. Usually the more things you go through, you're going to be tougher for it. It's going to help you immensely. It doesn't always feel good in the time. This is going to benefit Josh Proctor a ton in his football career and just in life in general, and being a man, a husband, a father one day, like all those different things. Like, this is good. It's been good for Josh Proctor. I've seen the difference in him. It's been fun to watch, and it hadn't always probably felt good for him in 6 years. Seemed long, but it's gone fast. But it's been big for him to be there. And what he's doing now, I'm pretty excited for him potentially this season and what he can bring to the table. Now, I want to get on real quick. Denzel Burke, people beat him up a lot last year. He didn't play quite as good as he did. He was a true freshman. But there was a reason for that. And he touches on it. And I don't think people knew the extent of everything that was going on last year.
Physically, I couldn't do a lot of things. I had the shoulder, had the ankle, the hand, fingers. So, I'm healthy this year, thank God. So, God willing, I could just stay healthy all year.
And it's, the injuries. And, it's not just one. It's a hand, it's a shoulder, it's this, it's that. There's a bunch of stuff that was bothering him. And that was tough. He didn't want to talk about it. There's a difference between excuses and reasons. And those weren't excuses. Like, he was beat up physically. They didn't have anybody else to play. And so he's out there battling, doing the best he can. And so hopefully he stays healthy this year. I think he did. He put in a good offseason. He's looked good so far. I want to finish it up with Jim Knowles talking about third corner, who it could be rolling corners through there, what all that could potentially look like.
Yeah, we look at what that guy has to do, right, in terms of how it fits to our opponents and everything that position has to do. And we think a corner can do it. You know, we think it's not a place where you really have to be a hard, tough run defender, and we can involve our corners there more, and we think that'll give us more depth as the season goes along. We didn't have a lot of depth at the nickel position last year when Cam was hurt a lot, so that'll give us an increased ability to get those guys reps.
There we go. And a way to get more corners on the field. And the third corner nickel in this, they don't ask him to be super physical. I mean, Cam Martinez is in there right now, and he can hit. He's a good tackler. You don't necessarily need a huge, big hammer guy. You know, and Sonny Styles could maybe do some of that, but maybe you get that third corner in there as well, depending on how it looks. And like you mentioned, Jair Brown, whoever could come down inside, that's big. And then the guy that's long and athletic that everybody wants to hear about, his thoughts on David Igbenusum.
Great. He's looking fantastic. He gets his hands on a lot of balls. He competes. He's got a mental toughness to him. Very pleased to have him here.
I mean, that's basically it. He's tough. He's long. He's a competitor. He's checking all the boxes, man. I said last episode, reminds me a lot of Jeffrey Okudah. You know, maybe not the most fluid guy. You watch him and Cam Martinez run, spin around and do some drills. Cam's a lot more fluid. But David is long. He's really tall. Heck, he's almost as tall as me, and he's got great top line speed and long arms. So he can beat up guys, mug them, and turn and run with them. He's got elite top end. And so everybody's different with their gifts. So you use those gifts the best you can. Said a couple weeks down in the bag now, 2 real full weeks of spring ball. Got 2 more weeks to go. Monday, Wednesday, Friday practices capped off with spring game here in 2 weeks. Excited to get into it. Man, it's going to be a fun summer. It'll go fast, and man, before you know it, Buckeyes will be kicking off here after Labor Day. So excited to kind of keep you rolling with all of this, and we'll see kind of where Carps Corner takes us. So please continue to subscribe, like, share, post your comments. We'll do a mailbag next week to get any of your questions here, since we're kind of halfway through spring ball and kind of see where everything's going. So anything I can help you with, just let me know. Until next time, talk to you soon.